and welcome to this Pilates warm-up. This is something that I do at the beginning of every class that I take, so it's a really good way to warm up your joints and your muscles so that they're not cold going into the exercise. This is also something that you can adopt when you're doing the dishes, walking the dog, all of the other things that you do generally. Thinking about certain aspects of posture is a really good way to improve it just during those day-to-day activities. So we need to get our feet hip distance. So a good way to do this is to put your feet together, then out to 10 to 2, then up onto the balls of the feet, swinging the heels out and dropping them down. So this is hip distance and a really good support. A lot of the time when you say to people stand hip distance, they tend to be a lot wider, or they tend to kind of turn in a little bit or turn out. So this is a really good way of checking out to 10 to 2 like you would on a clock, up onto the balls of the feet, swinging the heels out and dropping them down. Now thinking about your posture, are you standing nice and tall? Imagine there's a rope at the top of your head pulling you up nice and tall, stretching through your spine. You might find that your knees have locked a little bit here, so making sure they're nice and relaxed and making sure that your bottom isn't clenched as well. So standing nice and tall without putting any pressure through anything else. Shoulders down away from the ears. They tend to creep up when we're stressed or if we're sitting at a desk or driving a lot. So keeping those shoulders down and nice and relaxed. Now thinking about our pelvis. So we don't want it rocking backwards or forwards. So really helps to just see what your extremes are in terms of articulation through your lower back. So taking your pelvis all the way forward, taking it all the way back, settling somewhere in the middle, and then tipping slightly forward. We call it kind of 30%. So imagine somewhere in the middle and then just slightly forward. Another way of checking is to place your thumbs on your belly button and your fingertips on your pubic bone, just looking down, and your pelvis should be level. So it's not rocked forward and it's not rocked backwards. So able to just see your thumbs on top of your fingers, not just one or the other. Thinking about our abdominals now. So in order to protect our back, which is really important, and in order to work our core efficiently, we need to have the abdominal muscles pulled in a little bit. So like we said about the pelvis, that 30% kind of pulled forward, it's the same with our abs. So imagine pulling them in as tight as you can, holding them in towards your back, really uncomfortable. You can't talk that well, you can't really breathe, letting it out by 50% and another 20%. So we've got that 30% contraction in our abdominals all of the time. So you're going to feel them kind of locked on, but it's not difficult to breathe, it's not difficult to talk, they just feel like they're firing a little bit. And the great thing about this is that your pelvic floor and your abdominal muscles co-contract, so that if you're pulling these in, then that will also contract, lifting the pelvic floor and strengthening those muscles as well. To just demonstrate this, if you squeeze those pelvic floor muscles, the muscles you need to stop yourself mid-flow on the loo, you'll feel your abs contract as well. Okay, so co-contracting is really, really handy, because what that's doing is it's creating that tension around your core area, which is going to protect your back for the exercises going forward. Now, just another thing to think about, which is a little bit tricky and it tends to come with practice. So what I always say during my classes is, as long as you are breathing, that's really all that matters. Don't worry too much about timing and don't worry too much about how you're breathing, but I am going to demonstrate the lateral thoracic breathing that is really, really good. When we're stressed and when we're anxious, we tend to do shallow breaths. When you're panicking, they kind of just come into the chest. So we want to send the air down and out to the side. So really good belly breath. It's really good for resetting, which is important if you're feeling a little bit stressed. Taking a few deep breaths really does slow everything down and gives you a little bit of space to calm everything back down again. We also send the air out to the side, so the lateral thoracic breathing all around this midsection, because some of the exercises that we do in Pilates are lying on our tummy. Really difficult to do belly breaths when you're lying on your tummy, and so we tend to send the air out to the sides, which makes it a whole lot easier. So one way of checking this is to place your fingers on your tummy, okay, kind of on your rib cage, and we want them a little bit touching. What we're going to be doing is breathing in through your nose, and we're taking the air out to the sides and the back. The hands should come apart a little bit, breathing out through the mouth, and the fingertips come together, and they might even overlap a little bit. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. Like I said, it takes a little bit of practice. It's something that I'm going to keep reminding you of once you get a little bit used to some of the exercises. But this is the Pilates setup that I do at the beginning of every class, and something to think about when you're going about your daily life. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.